Good morning, YouTube. Just want you guys to see my face and my lovely curly hair. I'm gonna have to do these videos in the morning when I'm driving or in the afternoons, but I really don't have much time anymore because, I work nights after I work at school during the day, like 3 days a week. So I don't have much time, but I'm gonna try to put out a video at least like maybe once a month, just like of a backlog of thoughts. But the reason why I'm making today's video is I just got caught daydreaming, and the problem with daydreaming is, daydreaming is a form of escapism from your daily life, right? And you know what the problem is, and this is the problem. I'm going to vent a little bit in this video, but it all speaks to the greater, the problems in the world. And it's kind of had a conversation I had. It sparked from a conversation I had last night. So I got a lot to tell you guys, and I think I should have time. So if this video is like 20 minutes, don't be mad at me, but maybe save it for like a morning commute or something like that. But I'm daydreaming because I go to school, and the public education system is absolutely shot. Like it's like I'm set up to fail before I even start, right? Because I'm in a poor district. So like they're trying to turn the scores around and make the school better, but there is no such thing as turning the school around. And I'm not trying to be negative. I'm really not. It's just let's be honest. Let's live in reality. When students are, in gangs and when students have single parent households, and I don't think single parent households are an excuse, but it comes from a certain extent. If you come from a single parent household and your mother is a nurse, that's usually a common thing, a nurse or some educated woman, a businesswoman, then you're gonna have a higher chance to succeed. But if you come from a single parent household where the father or the mother, even if they are working all the time, but they just had kids young and they're also running around in the streets, like the kid's going to be set up for failure, and that's what we're up against. And even like there's a lot of poor whites there. And that's another thing. Poverty is a mentality. It's a disease in a sense of the mindset it takes on. It affects everybody because, and that's what I'm on the front lines in the fucking trenches fighting every day, because it doesn't matter if you're poor white and you're working on the farm every morning. When you come around to the school and everyone thinks that there is no point because the school sucks. And that's the one thing about kids. They might not have the vocabulary to be able to say like, they might be able to say this school sucks, but they're not able to say that the reason why the school sucks is because I feel like no one truly cares about me and I can't truly succeed, right? And I have been trying to show, like, a lot of the kids, they don't understand that, like, why I am the way I am is because I'm there on the front lines and I'm telling these kids I care about them, and I really am believing in them despite them not believing in themselves at all, right? And some of the kids are like, man, Mr. A, you actually like really care. Like, you're really trying. And I'm like, I'm trying. Granted, that's how I'm going to get burnt out. But the thing is, who gives a fuck? You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, like, I can't worry about some dumb shit like burnout. You know what I mean? And that's not even a real thing. Like, if you care, like, for example, and this is one of the topics, work should be playtime. For people like me and people, and this is for anybody, this is for a person who is seeking more in life. Work should be playtime. Work shouldn't be stressful. Work shouldn't be like, yes, it can be stressful in a sense of like, oh, I gotta do XXX, but like in a sense of like when you leave work, you're like, all right, that's done. Like, you instantly disconnect. You have no problems disconnecting because at the end of the day, work is where you go and you have fun and you can play, right? It shouldn't be the most stressful, like your life's gonna end. That's not how work should feel. It should feel play. And then what should be the hardest part of your life should be the relaxing part of life. Like, you should be struggling to relax, right? Because that tells you what you want in your life, right? Where if you're struggling to relax, really think about that, how that affects you. You're like, why can't I just chill on my Sunday? Where is this anxiety and dread or coming from that I have to like I'm fighting it off. And it's because you want more for yourself, right? You always want more for yourself. And you can't even let yourself relax. That's why when you go to work, you're like, the root of it is work isn't really satisfying. That's why it's play, right? That's why, like at my school, right? There could be 1,000,001 things we can do to fix the test scores. But guess what? I know that at the end of the day, and all the teachers know, it's not going to change. And you could say that, hey, we could all, and even if we all super believed in them, you can't make the students, when they go home, have a better home life, right? So if at home they have to take care of their brothers and sisters or watch their kids, they might have kids. Like, you can't help them, right? And that's just the reality. I can't make them read a book. I can't make them do anything that they don't want to do. So I can believe in them as much as they can. They have to believe in themselves as well, right? And then listen, and I have friends I have to believe in, and then they have to believe in themselves. It still doesn't work, right? At the end of the day. So that's an ongoing process. But work isn't as fulfilling as it should be, and I don't know if it ever will be, right? I'm trying. I go to all the kids. I'm trying to go to all the kids' games, and show up and mean something. I mean, literally yesterday I showed up to the football game, the JV one, and I mean, I'm not even joking. Like, my shout out my aura, but my aura is pretty vicious. You know what I mean? Like, as soon as I showed up on the field, it was like all the players turned around. They were like, "What the fuck, Mr. A here?" Even the cheerleaders like, "What, Mr. A here?" Like, you know what I mean? Because that's my aura. Because that's what. And that's what I'm trying to say, is that, like, if you care, it resonates. It infects others. But, poverty, that non-caring is a disease, and I'm up there fighting against it. And I caught myself daydreaming because, I'm disconnecting from this real life, even though I want more. I don't know what, and that's what I'm putting this video out because, listen, I'm talking about me, but it resonates for everybody, right? And anything you hear about me saying me, replace it with you, right? So if you're listening to this video, replace all the I's and the me's with you, okay? And right now, it's not that I'm trapped. I like what I'm doing. I do like going to school. I like seeing the kids, but I do want more for myself. But right now it's like I'm trapped, right? Because, the school pays for my master's, and you gotta, how it is when a school pays for your master's, you gotta stay there for X amount of time. So, like, it feels like I'm trapped to work up the ladder of, like, whoever I might go. I might be a professor, I might be principal someday. You know what I mean? I don't know. But get this. I don't want to fight against it, but it's hard to not feel trapped sometimes, you know what I mean? And I say that because, I had an in-service day, right, yesterday, and this is why I don't like dealing with kids, and this is why I didn't even want to become an adult. And this is going to sound so childish because I am the idealist, I'm the hopeful. Listen, I can live in reality, and this is one thing I want to say about people like me. And I'm allowed to live in reality, but I'm also allowed to be as hopeful and live in fantasy as much as I want, because if you don't live in fantasy, then I feel like you're also in a sense giving up, right? Like, I'm gonna believe in these kids, man. I tell these kids straight up, I'm like, yo, don't play around like that or something like that. Like, I want you to be a leader, and I want you to be, X person. And they're like, damn, what the fuck, Mr. Ain't nobody talk to me like that. Because I live in this fantasy world where I know, even if you have all these odds against you, I believe in you. You know what I mean? And I say that because I'm at this in-service meeting yesterday, and it's like, it's just adults, and it's like, you gotta just, it's like walking on eggshells in a sense, because everybody's just lying. Everybody's putting on an act. And this is what I hate about the adult world. Everybody's pretending. And I get it. Everybody's pretending. They just want to get a check, right? Everybody's just trying to survive and get a check. But they don't realize, and this is what I'm trying to say this is for all industries. You just surviving and trying to get a check ends up fucking up everybody else down the line, because you just tolerated whatever bullshit you allowed slide for years, and then it fucks up the fields for anything. So, for example, teaching, right? we use a program called Common Lit, right? And it's basically like automatically made for you, right? You just load up the laptop and the kids just work on it by themselves. Like, I don't even really need to teach. And I'm like, and it's funny because I even had a conversation with the teacher. He was like, oh yeah, I love Common Lit because it's like, you know, I don't have to think. It's right there for me. And I'm like, okay, that's great. You're tenured. You're not getting fired. I said, imagine if 20 years ago, this was your first year and you had Common Lit. And, you know, knowing what we know now, you know, and they even make jokes like AI is going to replace them in 2 years. I go, wouldn't you be against Common Lit because wouldn't you be against Common Lit because Common Lit basically, what's the difference between Common Lit and a hologram or a Zoom, you know, just teaching on this? And he was like, no, you're 100% right. I would hate this if I was a first year teacher. I'd fight this. And I go, you not see my first year, you know, my first year thing? Like I'm not tenured. I would like, and I'm not trying to fight this. I'm not trying to make waves. I also got to collect the check, right? So like now I'm stuck in that conundrum of just like, I just got to collect the check. And, you know, and people are like, yeah, well, I'm almost, you know, they're like only thinking about themselves, right? I'm out. They don't realize that, okay, so then you're saying teaching is going to turn to shit. And this could be for any profession, by the way. This could be real estate. This is going to be, what else is going to go extinct in a couple of years? I mean, there's a lot of fields that are going to go AI, just full AI. But because we're allowing it to, right? Nobody wants to put their foot down. And this is why I didn't want to like join the adult world for a long time. I knew I'd kill it. I knew I would kill it, but it's the fact that like you get into the world and everyone just doesn't give a shit. And it feels like you're the only one who actually gives a fuck about anything. And you're like, damn, this is exactly why. And then you're around a bunch of people who don't give a fuck. And then it brings you down. Right? You know, my friend, he just got a job at kind of like doing what I'm doing, but he's on a different level. He's like on like a kind of dealing with like kids who are like, you know, get kicked out of schools, you know, same shit, right? And he's just like, I'm fighting a little bit of depression. And I'm like, you know, because you're fighting exactly what I'm fighting against. You're the only motherfucker who cares. Yo, these people don't give a shit about nothing, man. And that's the problem at the end of the day. And it's so funny because Gen X, I had a bunch of conversations, I have a bunch of conversations with Gen Z because my night job, I'm over there coaching or whatever. And they're all like, Mr. A, man, we don't, you know, the sentiment of among Gen Z is we don't like millennials because millennials don't realize that all the change they want in the world actually comes with, you know, effects. And the effects are, you know, but they were just saying that we just want to work and die. There's nothing more to it. And I said, but that's why your generation's fake. You know, look at TikTok. All the girls, think about, and this is what I keep trying to tell you guys. Look at the trends. Look at and this is all by design, probably, you know, government design, and which is really, to be honest, which is very fucking smart. You know, for example, when millennials have kids, they're just going to be millennials 2.0. They're going to fight for change and XXX. But the boomers, Gen Zers kids, right? Sorry. The Gen Zers, they're like boomers because all the media, right, is like Rocky. Every single thing that the Gen Zers have been watching is just repeats of 80s themes of like the jock, the nerd, the cool girls, the frat. It's back full in effect. So you know how they are. They're the most materialistic, fake, money-driven people. And that's all they care about again. You know, they were even telling me, all that matters is money and work till you die and blah, blah, blah. Millennials want to change the world. Who gives a fuck about that shit? That is the sentiment of Gen Z. That's what I deal with 10th graders every day. That's their same sentiment. So you're fighting up against that programming. So when we have kids, when millennials have kids, you know, some already do, but when they grow up, you know, they might be fighting the system again, and I think it creates like a constant like opposition. One generation fights, one generation wants everything to stay the same. Maybe that's by design. I say that because people don't truly want anything to change, right? People don't truly want anything to change. I don't know. I think we fake. I don't think we know. You know, it's kind of like, you know, I don't really want to comment on the war, but it's kind of like that, right? What does change? People are police, and I get, because, you know, it was, you know, a bunch of bad things are happening in the war and over there, and they're like policing how a war's supposed to be fought. Meanwhile, we've read hundreds of history books about, you know, what happens in war. And then now that it's happening, because you know what happens? We live in the digital age, and we think, oh, because I have man, we're in the Stone Age. We're in the Stone Age, and people don't realize that shit. We're really in the Stone Age. But they see that we have phones and all this high tech, that they're like, oh, we shouldn't act like that. Motherfucker, that's only even more reason to act like that. You know what I'm saying? And that speaks to the general theme of what's going on in this life. So I said all that because, you know, I was, you know, daydreaming today, and I don't want to fucking daydream. You know, I want to be present in my life, and I hope to be this, you know, the change for everybody. You know, I feel like I have, last little bit as I'm pulling up, you know, this is not cocky, this is not arrogant, this is just like how I truly feel. Like, I do want to, it's like I want to cry sometimes, you know what I mean? I can't cry, I don't know how to cry, but it's like I do want to cry, because it's like I want to be that guy for everybody, so that they can see that it's possible. And I'm not talking about like this successful, you know, six-figure type. Of course I want that, but I want to be the guy that, like, I am 100% me, authentic, and people like that, they get fucking torn up by the society, right? I want to succeed, still be me on the other end, and not some jaded motherfucker who hates life when they come out of it. I want to be like the positive me, making a change me, and everyone's so like, all right, he did it. Like, there is a way, you just have to believe. And I want to be that in every, you know, aspect of my life for everybody, because, you know, I love and care for everybody, my friends, my family, and I want to be the best version of myself for them and you guys at all the times. So have a good day. Believe in yourself. I love you. Have a good day.